All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're exploring a piece of Japanese folklore that is, honestly, just fascinating. It starts out as this quirky local mystery, but it actually ends up transforming into a really profound, enduring message of world peace. We're looking at the first of the seven wonders of Nanma, the legend of the bell without warts. I absolutely love digging into the history behind local legends, mostly because they reveal so much about the beating heart of a community. So let's get into it.
Now, you might be wondering, have you ever heard of a magical temple bell that can literally make warts disappear? I know. It sounds like something straight out of a fairy tale, right? But this super specific, kinda unusual folklore is a genuine local legend. Before we uncover the secret behind this vanishing act, though, let's establish exactly where this unique piece of history comes from. Section 1, History of Shogan-ji and the Nanma District. Okay, so let's ground this magical legend in physical reality. We're looking at the exact location of Shogan-ji Temple, right in the Nanma district, pronounced Nanma. And you'll see it's beautifully nestled right near the historic Nanma Castle ruins. So this isn't just some abstract myth. It's tied to a very real geographic landscape that people still walk through today. And let me tell you, this temple has some serious historical weight. Shogunji boasts a rich history spanning roughly 700 years. It actually originated way back in the mid-Kamakura period, specifically during the Kenji era. It was founded under the guidance of priest Junyu, and it belongs to the Shingon sect, specifically the Chisan school. Knowing that this site has stood as a spiritual pillar for 7 whole centuries, well, it really helps frame just how important its artifacts were to the locals.
Section 2, The Bell Without Warts Legend.
So, here's the big question. Why did the temple's traditional bell lose all of its distinct protruding warts? If you've ever seen traditional Japanese temple bells, you know they usually feature these neat rows of protruding bumps or bosses around the top half. They're totally iconic. But Shogunji's original bell mysteriously lost every single one of them. It was completely smooth. I mean, how does solid metal just lose its bumps? Well, according to the folklore, the bell functioned as a kind of magical exchange system. It went like this. Step 1, villagers suffering from physical warts would come and pray at the bell for healing. Step 2, miraculously, their warts vanished. But here is the catch. Step 3. In exchange for taking away a person's wart, the bell itself lost one of its metal warts. The story goes that as word spread like wildfire, huge crowds visited the temple, and as more people were healed, the bell sacrificed its own bumps until it was completely, perfectly smooth. It's such an incredible metaphor, right? The temple literally taking on the burdens of its community. Section 3, Sad Wartime Metal Requisition. Now, this bell was deeply loved. It was tied to the hopes, the health, and the daily rhythms of the villagers. But unfortunately, modern history violently intervened. During the severe iron and metal shortages of World War II, the military forcibly requisitioned this beloved, smooth bell. The community just had to give it up, to be melted down. The source material captures this profound, silent sadness with a really heartbreaking quote. It says, "It breaks my heart to think it is used for various military purposes, but it was an unavoidable result." Just imagine that devastation. The very bell that metaphorically healed them was taken away to create weapons. For years, the village was left without their familiar timekeeper. That silence must have been absolutely deafening.
Section 4, A New Bell Heralding Peace.
But thankfully, the story doesn't end in silence. Several years after the war ended, that heavy, mournful silence at Shogan-ji Temple was finally broken. Take a look at this vibrant red tower standing tall against the trees today. Honestly, you can almost feel the fresh breeze of a new era just looking at it. And this brilliantly illustrates the return of joy to the village, thanks to a super generous donation from a local volunteer, a true philanthropist. A grand new bell was gifted to the temple. And if you look closely, you'll spot something special. This new bell comes complete with its traditional warts. The temple once again had a timekeeper, and that joyful, resonant sound of peace was finally allowed to ring out across the Nanma district once more. Section 5. The Wishes in Mei Iwaku. But this replacement wasn't just about telling time again. This new bell became a physical canvas for the community's absolute deepest, most expansive hopes. Right next to the majestic main hall hangs this new bell, and it features a really special engraving on its side. It's known as the Mei Iwaku, pronounced Mei Iwaku,
This inscription isn't just your standard dedication. It carries a very specific, deeply moving message that was crafted right in the wake of a devastating global conflict. Let's read through exactly what this miyawaku says. The inscription explicitly asks for national prosperity, upholding true dharma, peace in the four seas, which means global peace, abundant joy for all people, coexistence and co-prosperity, lasting peace, and finally, equality and benefit for the entire universe. I mean, wow. The scope of those words is absolutely breathtaking. This elevates the bell's purpose way, way beyond that old legend of curing personal ailments. It literally transforms the bell into this massive, booming prayer for global harmony and the prosperity of all living things.
When we place the past and present side by side, it reveals a really striking contrast. In the past, the original smooth bell represented prayers for curing personal, localized ailments, getting rid of a wart. But in the present, the new bell represents prayers for universal, lasting peace. It beautifully highlights how the immense tragedy of the war and the trauma of losing their beloved original bell radically expanded the community's empathy. Their prayers evolved from a personal plea for health into a universal plea for an end to all conflict.
Which brings us to our final thought for today. The history of Shogan-ji Temple and the first wonder of Nanma shows us how historical artifacts are vessels for human emotion, absorbing our personal worries, suffering through our wars, and ultimately ringing out our greatest hopes. So I'll leave you with this. The next time you hear a temple bell ring out in the distance, will you think only of the time of day, or will you hear the echoes of a community's lasting, hard-won wish for global harmony? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep reflecting, and I'll catch you next time.